It was a cold, tough day for the Guardians. Oh, and they played a game, which they lost. The gut punch came before the game with the news about Gavin Williams. We'll get into that. The Guardians shut out and also a tough performance. But hey, we're going to salvage this thing with some fun draft data and some other minor league updates. It's time for Lockdown Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for making Locked On Guardians your first listen today and every day, wherever it is that you get podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admitted I have a competitive side, and it is a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on the classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download Monopoly Go now, free on the App Store or Google Play. Over there is Justin. I am Jeff. I'm going to apologize off the top of the show. Not only did the Guardians have a disappointing game, but I had a little one get stitches today. So I am already kind of in a mindset where I didn't get to watch as much as I would like. And when I did watch, I was like, come on, I need positive performance today. A little one is okay as a 2-year-old can be who had to get 5 stitches. So don't worry there. But
solidarity for Gavin Williams, right?
Yeah, I was like, he's worried. He decided he was going to get stitches so Gavin Williams doesn't have to. That's what he was thinking.
So we're hopeful of, yeah. Unfortunately, that news came today. They said they got the news yesterday, so everyone was asking about what was going to happen with Williams. So he did his sim game on Saturday in Arizona, and he was supposed to fly back to Cleveland for his next, assessment and figure out where he's going to go rehab-wise. But unfortunately, what happened on Saturday is he had a reoccurrence of the elbow soreness that was happening, after the weighted ball issue in spring training that caused him to get shut down. So right as of right now, he is going to get an injection. We don't know what kind of injection. That would make a difference to know what kind, because
a cotton candy injection. No, don't do that.
That doesn't sound good to me either. I don't like cotton candy, so I think that would give me the shivers too. I'd probably get.
You don't like eggnog. You don't like cotton candy. How that's the
or
podcast is over. Or black licorice.
No,
we gotta.
Don't end the podcast. Smith, so
I like some. I got a few movies over there, but I mostly tease you about it because we got to have some things to argue about.
So I don't know what kind of injection it is at this point. I mean, platelet rich, I think, is one that usually takes months when you're being shut down. Like I remember when Masahiro Tanaka and Garrett Cole got those. They were shut down for months at a time. That's the plasma one. So if this is just like a cortisone, that's just to try to help with it. But cortisone is usually a temporary pain thing and not a long-term thing. Like, because obviously they don't want to do cortisone a lot. It's essentially a steroid, which I assume it's legal because guys get cortisones all the time.
Yeah, it is. It basically allows you to block the pain and kind of, also it's not healing anything, but it allows you to
be
more
that's
comfortable.
What I'm thinking. It's probably not a cortisone, but we don't know what kind of injection. The only one I can think of is platelet rich, but like I said, when guys get the platelet rich stuff, usually that's months at a time. But right now the Guardians are saying he's shut down for 7 days, and they're hoping that after the injection and the 7-day shutdown, he can go back to his throwing program without too much of a setback.
That's why I don't think it's platelets, because that wouldn't be the 7 days and back to throwing typically.
Well, yeah, but that they could be saying that and saying they're being hopeful, but that's obviously what we're hoping. But I was at about anytime you hear elbows with pitchers, not great. Anyway, when we thought this was like a fluke injury for Gavin Williams, because they said before initially it was not a structural issue, like there was no tear in the UCL, and they're claiming that's still the case. But anytime you hear elbow injury for a pitcher, you're obviously it's a huge red flag. So I think what was it before when in spring training we were about at a 5?
I think I'm
at a 4 or 5. I think I'm at a 7 or 8 now, just because.
I'm at 8.
The longer he misses and the more setbacks he has, the more concern I'm going to have about it. And then I'm just not likely to believe it until we see him back on the mound and healthy, truthfully. So I'm probably up to a 7 or 8 now.
Yeah, I'm totally at 8. It's one of those situations where when you look at what is occurring, we know he had health concerns out of college, and that was more his back, but
yeah,
it's still, there was health concerns on a dude. It's a pitcher. Every pitcher in baseball is seemingly breaking right now. All that stuff is going to mount in your head. You're going to have that concern. hopefully he's fine. Hopefully this is just like, oh, it was a hiccup and he's good the rest of the way, especially because this team really can't afford to be down Gavin Williams for an extended period of time, but they're already down him for an extended period of time, but I guess an even further extended one. So hopefully it's nothing, but yeah, I'm at Nate.
Yeah, I'm not to the level of, anything you get from him is a bonus at this point. Like, cause that's kind of where you were with some other guys. Like, before we heard about the Espino shoulder thing, like we talked about early in the year before that news came out, that anything you got from him this year would be a bonus. And I'm not at that level with Williams where, hey, if he pitches 3 or 4 games, that's a bonus for you and not that you shouldn't expect anything else. I'm not that far down the road on him yet, but it's going to be hard for me to believe he's going to be just fine in pitching this year until I actually see him on the mound and I see him out at a minor league game rehabbing, because he didn't get that far. That was supposed to be the next step, and this is the reoccurrence. But hey, now you got to ask yourself the question: do you
feel lucky? Oh no, sorry.
No, you definitely don't feel lucky. No, not anything. The Guardians were very unlucky actually on Wednesday. We'll talk more about that with the offense, but this is just half joking anyway. But more likely to offer him get an extension out of him now that he's having elbow issues. Everyone's having elbow issues. Maybe he would be scared into taking an extension, right? But do the Guardians want to give him that extension if he's having elbow issues? But that's really just trying to make light of a situation that really stinks.
No, he's still has Boris, so yeah, there's no chance of anything. I mean, we saw Boris just take try to get all that money with the Blake Snell situation. So it
worked out great. He's on the IL now.
Yeah, no, I mean that's which we all knew would happen anyways. Like that's why that
because he was available starting late. Yeah,
and that was that dude's history. I did enjoy when I went to Brewers game as weather night 2 weeks ago. This is a complete side note for humor, but do you know who leads a week ago who led the National League in innings pitched?
Logan Webb.
Glass now.
Oh, that's ironic. Yeah, the guy was made of glass, right?
Yeah, no, that was that. I brought that up because when I looked that up, I couldn't help but chuckle. But yeah, I think. I know, because as you can tell, Justin's a bit under the weather. I thought we had a
that cold weather. I was at the game. The cold weather kind of got the best of me.
It's nasty weather when it goes from the heat to the cold like it is. But it's one of those situations where I'm going to put on the rose tinted glasses and I'll be like, Williams is gonna be fine. It's one of you saying as I go to bed tonight, just over and over.
Yeah. Say in the mirror 3 times and he'll appear behind you. Is that how that works?
I don't know if he's the candy man. Right now, I'm more scared of his elbow than I would be of the candy man.
Bloody Mary. You're just going to see a picture of a bloody elbow or something, or someone's torn elbow behind you.
This is like us trying to somehow make this no, it can't happen. We're reverse jinxing the heck out of this.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just such a tough situation because he looks so good in the spring too. He was probably going to be, you and I thought maybe their number 2 starter this year because we just weren't sure what McKenzie and Bieber were going to be. And the answer is not hurt and not great. And instead of him being the number 2, we haven't seen him pitch at all. So it's just, it's kind of amazing that they've been as good as they have when you consider that.
Right. Be grateful that they have built that lead and they've banked those wins without any of this. And again, hopefully Gavin's back, but I mean, I have a hard time sitting here saying that it's going to happen until I actually see him in a rehab game and he looks fine. So we'll see. But I know a lot of people are going to want to talk about why is Carlos Carrasco still here? He wasn't good against Boston, and yeah, he wasn't great, but and a lot of people want to replace him with Xavier Curry, and the real problem here is it's a lack of depth. You got the Williams news on Wednesday, which isn't good for the time being. You don't have any depth. Joey Cantillo is still a few weeks away from getting back on the mound at this point. So he's got to get back on the mound. He's got to build his pitch count up. He's got to rehab, and he's got to get back to Columbus. And then he's got to get his feet under him before he can become an option. So we're talking, probably a month from now at the very least, maybe June. Your options right now in AAA are Curry. Yeah, Zach Kent's hurt. Wes Parsons really isn't a starter, and Will Dion's not pitching very well. You can't cut bait with Carrasco because if you cut bait with Carrasco, you're putting Curry in the rotation, and you have nobody at AAA to call up for a start. You have nobody. You can, when Eli Morgan gets healthy, if the shoulder thing really, no one said anything, so who knows? But you can send him to AAA and build him out as a starter, but it's not a great option either. But so everybody wants to cut bait with Carrasco. I know he hasn't pitched great. He's had, a couple of starts that were survivable, and then he was good. He was okay against the Red Sox until like they put him out in the 6th inning, which we'll talk about. Made no sense. But you just can't afford to cut bait with him because right now you have 6 starters. He can't go to AAA. I don't know if he. I mean, I assume he'd clear waivers. But then again, there's a lot of pitching injuries in baseball, so maybe he wouldn't. And then you're down to 5 starters. You have nobody to call up. So I understand like people are upset with how he's pitching, and they think Curry's a better option. And quite frankly, Curry probably is a better option. I hate to say it, but he probably is. But it's a long season, and we're already seeing a lot of health issues. So unfortunately, you've got to play the long game here, and you've got to hope that Carrasco can get a little better until you can get some time to get Cantillo back and some other guys in the minors to figure it out. Like, I know nobody wants to hear that, but it's a long season. We're still in April, and that's the truth. They don't have depth right now.
You're 100% right. And like, you know, I saw one of our listeners who like posted a things he thought would happen in the next month. And one of them was like, will Dion promoted? And it's like, Dion is, listen, he is a interesting profile and we'll see what he can do, but it's been bad in the early going. It's been really bad. Like it's not just that he's missing bats, but he's also walking guys at a rate that he's never given up before.
And the home run rate finally caught up to him. Yeah. He hasn't given up a lot of home runs, and now it's there. I will take credit for that. I had him on my other podcast, Guardians of the Future, and I said, you know, what is it with you not suppressing home runs for a guy who doesn't have, the usual stuff for that? He goes, I don't know. I'll have to tell you when I figure it out. And well, I'm sorry, Will. It's all my fault. It's all my fault, guys.
No, it's just that situation. That's a hard park adjusting that level. I really need to pay attention to every single game he plays and go look at the Savant data so we can finally look at that data, because he is that guy where it was going to be either 100%. Like we were going to find out this year, either he's a future major leaguer or not. Like it was going to be one way or the other.
He is. It's just guys at that level have had hiccups. Like Logan Allen. I'm not saying he's Logan Allen.
I'm not saying he's there. I'm not saying he's like done or anything. I'm just saying like this year would be more than any other pitcher when they get to that level, because his stuff is so fringy. This was going to be like a defining year,
right? Whether he was going to be a fringe guy or just a guy that could be in your rotation. We'll talk more about Carrasco start and the Guardian shutout. Obviously, we're going to talk about some draft stuff. We had some draft stuff we wanted to get to yesterday, just never had time. The draft stuff will be a lot of fun. There's some fun data floating out there that we want to share and talk about that I think just really makes the draft more interesting. And that's how we're going to make today a little sunnier, because they still have that number 1 draft pick and it's still going to be an exciting thing. And there's lots to talk about. So stay around for that, please. Please don't go away. Stay with us.
Please.
Well, as you can see right now, I am sick. I don't think I'm at the point where I need life insurance, but
I'll go look them up for you.
Yeah, maybe, can Gavin Williams get life insurance on his elbow? I mean, hey, some people do get body parts insured, like Taylor Swift has her legs insured, I heard, or something. But if life insurance is something you need to start preparing for, check with our friends at Policy Genius. You can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage, and some options even offer the same day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. Some people have high risk jobs. Sometimes your policies are not going to go with you when you leave another job. You never know what's going to happen. The nice thing about Policy Genius is they're going to help you compare options from other companies, and they have a team of licensed experts to talk you through that. And then they're also going to give you unbiased advice from licensed experts, because they don't have an incentive to recommend any single insurer or the other. So it's just really whatever is best for you, because they don't have any incentive to do that. And if you don't trust us, trust the 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot from customers who did find their best fit for their needs. So check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policy Genius. Head to policygenius.com/LockedOnMLB. Click the description to get your free life insurance quote. See how much you could save. policygenius.com/LockedOnMLB. Well, maybe you need life insurance because you lost all your riches on Monopoly Go. Monopoly Go is taking over the App Store. It's been downloaded, what do we say, over 150 million times on the App Store. It's very popular right now. And if you have a competitive side, we all have a competitive side. Download the classic twist on the classic Monopoly game. You can play not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in really crazy locations, build up cities that bring you money, charge your friends rent on iconic properties, and also rob them of their riches in the vaults. That's so fun. You can talk all kinds of crap about taking their money and charging them ridiculous rent on some properties. And leaderboards will show you who the biggest Monopoly tycoon is. Hopefully it's you. It's not just our competitive side that loves it. You can do it with friends, people around the world, and time tournaments, huge rewards. Get in the game, join your friends, download Monopoly Go, which is now free on the App Store or Google Play. Then have a little lunch on Thursday with Tom Hamilton and Jim Rosenhaus. Listen to the Guardians finale against the Red Sox at 1. I think is it 1:30? 1 o'clock? I don't know what time it is. It's one something on Thursday. You can check all that out on the Sirius XM app. Jeff, can anybody get Connor Wong out, first of all?
I feel like this is my fault. You talk about things that are your fault. If anyone's a long-time follower of mine, I loved Connor Wong when he was in Houston. And then when they made the Betts trade, I was like, I know he's not the biggest piece in this deal, but I really like Connor Wong. And there was points a year or two ago where it's like, I'd like to trade for Connor Wong. Like, this is a guy I've liked for a while. I talk about like he's got good wheels behind the plate. He does a lot of positive things. And I just feel like I've spent so much time hyping him over the years that he for some reason just seems to play like, see, your hype was right. And it's only when
he thought Cleveland loved him, so he had to go out and not show them love back. That was brutal. 5 hits,
2 home runs.
2 home runs. He's got 3 home runs this year against Cleveland. The really big question is, why did Carlos Carrasco face him a third time? Because I'm going to be honest, Carlos Carrasco got hit hard. I don't know why he went out for the 6th inning. Like, he gave up 3 runs in 5 innings, and honestly, that was fine. I said that's fine. You're down 3. He got you through 5 at this point in his career, and the way things have gone this year, that was as good as you can ask for Carlos Carrasco. And the good thing was, the home runs to Rafael Devers and Abreu and Rafael Devers and Connor Wong the first time were solo home runs. So you're limiting those guys to solo shots because you aren't walking people. Like, that's the first time all year Carrasco didn't have a ton of walk, which was great. But everything the Red Sox put in play was hammered. I mean, Devers hit the ball hard. Weiler Abreu hit the ball hard every time.
It's hard on a cold night. Like, that doesn't. Yeah. The coldness. I mean, that just showed like how easy they were in terms of picking up his stuff. It's really the first time all year I've had a big issue where I was like, I texted you and I was like, why they send him out? And you're just like, I don't know. And then it just
made no sense.
He didn't record any outs, especially because they had to use the pen heavily. There's a lot of guys you could go to.
Yeah, they got 2 batters into the 6th inning with him. One was the home run to Wong, and it was like, at that point, why did you even bring him back out there? Like, he had been hit hard all game. So the fact that you got through 5 innings and it was 3-0 should have been a victory enough in itself, the way he was getting hit. Like, the problem with Carrasco right now is his whip is just so high. He is stranding runners a lot when he is getting very lucky at how many runners he is stranding. His left on base rate right now is 78%, which actually isn't that bad, but his whip is, I think, almost 2. If it's not 2, it's very close. It's 163. So he is averaging a little over 1.5 base runners per inning, and the FIP is now up to 5. And he missed some bats. Like, it wasn't all bad for Carrasco. He struck out 4. I know the Red Sox lineup's not great, but again, 5 innings, 3 runs. I know you'd like 6, but you got to consider where things are at with him. You should have probably not.
That's a win.
Not that it mattered, because the Guardians' offense did absolutely nothing. But I don't know. That was just a very weird decision to bring him out for the 6th inning.
No, I agree. Like, him getting 5 innings and giving up 3 runs, they may not have won, but it is a win for him in terms of what you want him to do. But unfortunately, it was just a weird call. But let's move off of that. Listen. It's still an exceptionally fun year. It has still been a great time watching this team. Hopefully our numbers aren't going to fall off a cliff like they sometimes do. But
they probably will.
They probably will, but because it was an ugly game. But like, they're not going to be perfect. They're going to lose games. There's going to be off nights. Stuff happens. Sure. This does not take away any of my enthusiasm. Like, I am still looking forward to that game tomorrow.
It's just one of those nights. Yeah, it's just one of those nights. I mean, definitely some issues. Like, and early on, like, Jose Ramirez's ball in the 1st inning, I think, was not quite a homer, but it was pretty close. I think on a warmer night, he had a better chance. I think the expected batting average on that was 340. And then Josh Naylor's fly out, I think, also had an expected batting average of like 970. So, 790. So the cold weather probably got to him there. I know people are going to say, well, the Red Sox hit home runs. Yes, they did. They hit the ball hard because Carrasco was very hittable, unfortunately. But the Guardians were probably very close to 2 or 3 runs in that first inning. I don't know if that would have made a difference. Those first 2 innings, they didn't have a ball hit less than 92 miles an hour. Now, after that, they didn't do a whole lot. Yeah. After they hit Criswell hard the first 2 innings and had nothing to show for it. And then after that, there was nothing. I mean, did they even work some walks? Like,
no walks today.
No
they
walks.
4 hits. That was it. Yeah.
So 4 base runners total, of 5 if you count Jimenez getting hit by a pitch again. So they had some bad luck early on, and the bad luck never turned around because they stopped hitting the ball hard and had some bad at bats, truthfully. So it's just one of those nights. Like, that's all you can really read into it. It was a bad night for them overall. It was a bad start to the day with the Gavin Williams news, although they found out yesterday, and then the offense just didn't have it against Cooper Criswell, which, he threw 72 pitches in 5 innings. Not as if that's not a lot of pitches, right? Like, the night Tanner Houck pitched against them in Boston, he was averaging like 8 or 10 pitches an inning.
He ended up throwing a Maddox in that one.
He did throw a Maddox, and Criswell had 72 pitches. So it wasn't as if they didn't see a lot of pitches. It's just, they never really capitalized on anything, and the long at bats and the hard hit never turned around for them. So that's going to happen sometimes. We'll have to talk a little bit about Bo Naylor real quickly, and we should probably talk about Pedro Avila very quickly because, hey, I forgot he was on this team. We should give him his due. He wasn't great, but it was just kind of funny to see him. And then we're going to get into all that fun draft stuff and a little minor league talk as well. So we're going to wrap up the show on a mostly positive note. So stick around.
Let's talk about our good friends over at Prize Picks. I am the one who talks about them because what do I like about Prize Picks? Well, plain and simply, I like that it's you versus numbers. It's not you versus someone who's better prepared for this. It's not you versus someone who has spent all of their time looking at every little detail. It's you versus the numbers. You just pick more, pick less. It's that easy. So right now, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to open up the MLB tab. Let's see what we got. Ohtani. Do you think he hits a home run? Because it's 0.5 today. Aaron Judge, 1.5 bases. Zach Wheeler, 1.5 walks. And then here's one I don't know what fantasy score compiles at 6.5 for Acuna. But when you're looking at it, you just got to look at stuff like that. You pick more, you pick less. Like I say, it is that easy. They have something new called the Lab where you can check out information that can help you win these matchups. So go check out Prize Picks for yourself today. When you head over there, you want to download the app or go to the website and use the code LOCKEDONMLB, all lowercase, all one word, for first deposit match up to $100. Download the app, use the code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
It is also just as easy to find the Guardians game on your SiriusXM app for Thursday's matinee finale against the Red Sox. No more Connor Wong after Thursday, unless, God forbid, somebody else trades for him for the Guardians. I think the Guardians just trade for him now, so they don't have to face him. But search Guardians on your SiriusXM app. I just want to quickly note it's been a brutal month for Bo Naylor. I'm not picking on the guy. I think we
worst hitter on the team, I think, statistically, right?
He is not by OPS, but by average. Obviously, this is the non-Austin Hedges division because he doesn't.
He doesn't play enough to qualify.
No, but there's going to be growing pains, and it's April. We're not going to sit here and say that anybody's a bust in April or anybody's the MVP in April, except for Josh Naylor, obviously. But just a very tough month overall. I hope there should be better days ahead for Bo Naylor. But a pass ball, a couple of blocks that he just did not get to in this game, and then a couple more strikeouts. And there's a lot of red on the Savant page. You got good hard hit data. He's not chasing out of the zone. He's taking his walks. Almost passive, probably. He might just be passive, but he's also just whiffing a ton. He is missing a lot in the zone.
He's not chasing, but he's just whiffing.
They've got to get him figured out. I don't know.
Something's up with the swing, is what that data looks like.
Yeah, I can't really think of what it is. And then, welcome to the team, Pedro Avila. When he came in, I was sitting next to my wife at the game, and she goes, "Emmanuel Clase is warming up." I'm like, "No, he's not." She goes, "Well, who is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Pedro Avila, who I forgot was on the team. He was with the team in Boston last trip, and he didn't even pitch until now." So I was like, "Oh yeah, that guy's still on the team." So welcome to Cleveland, Pedro Avila. He didn't pitch terribly until the 9th inning, but
45 pitches.
It was 45 pitches. Yeah, at that point, that was not great.
He was left out there for a bit. He was armed to soak up innings and do everything. It was he did his job relative to all things.
He did his job. Yeah, I don't think he'll get the title belt from that from Tyler Beatty, but yeah, game 3
Tyler
versus
Beatty's
Boston.
not getting the title belt either. I don't think
he's ever going to win it.
I don't think anyone was really on it. Let's be honest. I don't think there's anyone deserving after this.
They don't. Well, they don't do it for losses. So,
but this is one of those games where if I was picking the 3 stars of the game, I'd be like, okay, you got 3 guys who had hits. I mean 4, but let's pick 3 of the guys. Like it was, and that's
Jose
what killed.
Had an extra base hit, and Pedro Avila soaked up innings. Other guys didn't have to.
And Jose Ramirez stole a base. But yeah, it's one of those.
Connor Wong gets one because
it's just that situation. Like what stinks with a game like this is it is innately one of those games that is. I don't know if I want to say hard to watch, but it's a bit hard to watch because it's just
nothing
not fun.
went right.
There's nothing went right in it, and you're gonna have those.
Mm-hmm. Sure, they've had a lot of luck or a lot of success this year, and just one of those nights. So Tristan McKenzie will pitch on Thursday against TBD, who knows? TBD doesn't have a great record.
Probably a bullpen
TBD's ever going to win.
No,
yeah, so
it could be Burn.
I can't it could be a bullpen game for the Red Sox. We'll see Brian Bio, but he's hurt. But maybe that'll be a good thing for Cleveland. Who knows? Let's do the college stuff first. Well, here I'll give you a quick minor league update. So I had a chat today with because I want to end on a good note. This is a negative note. Hopefully, in the next few weeks, Joey Cantillo and George Valera are back in action. That'll be good. It sounds like probably not a good chance to see Angel Martinez this year. Angel Martinez. I have to get that right one of these days. They're holding out hope that Angel Martinez will play sometime again at the end of the year. Like that, they said sliver of hope. So
sounds like they almost expect him to be done for the year.
Yeah, just about. So that's unfortunate for Angel Martinez that he was so close, but that's going to get him a whole year of service time too without playing. So that's going to be interesting. And they'll get an option year back on him because you can get an option for guys who miss that much time, a bonus option, but he'll get a whole year of service time. So what a weird fluky thing. Very unfortunate for him. Let's talk about home run rates, Jeff. We went through this data yesterday and we didn't get a chance to throw it out. Or do you want to start with the interesting Condon news from that article? Which one do you want to do first?
Well, I thought it was kind of funny this week. 2 separate sites did almost the identical profile / puff piece that they do on any prospect. It's not to denigrate Condon. It's just like this is what they do. Anyone who's a high pick, no one's ever coming out there with negatives on these guys. But the ESPN one was slightly more interesting than the Division I baseball one because the ESPN one said that he's going to ask for more than Skeens. He's going to ask for maybe the highest signing bonus ever, which again, I want to explain. When you get all of that money, that means you can't. And here again, so this draft class is pretty terrible from 10 to about 40, and then it's about as good as any other year. Actually, in some respects, at about 40, I like it because there's some really the pitching high school pitching group is interesting, but it doesn't have a star at the top. It's more of a group of really good second round arms. So when you save that money, you can then use it to get a whole bunch of players. So Condon, if he's the big money guy, that might already move him out of the picture because we've talked about other reasons why they could or could not be high on him. I do think if he is their number one guy with the bullet, they take him, demand or not. But if it ends up being like how Justin and I have discussed, where it's like Condon, Montgomery, and Bazzana are like one solid tier with Kurtz just almost in, and then if you believe that and someone's going to cost you $1 million more, you take the other guy and you allow yourself to use that million because do not go with the cheap thing. It's not about cheapness. This team always spends to the max. They pay into the penalty. This is one of the least cheap teams when it comes to the baseball draft. Right. Could be why there were no extensions or free agency. They might have been planning for this, that they knew they'd have to spend a lot this year. That could be where the cheapness happened. They're not going to skimp out on the draft. If they do it with savings, it's because guys have a similar grade and they're going to use that extra money to get more premium talent into the system.
Exactly. Yeah. So if it does come down to Condon, like you said, if they think he is the best guy clear far and away, they probably will do it no matter what the bonus is. But like you said, if everything is the same, you're going to take somebody who's going to be coming in less because you want to use that money in lower rounds. The money will still get used. It's just they want to be able to use it throughout the top 10 rounds versus going much higher on a guy that they think is similar to somebody else. So that was in ESPN this week, was really interesting to see. So keep an eye on that
because there's still such risk to it. It's like any draft, like the football drafts this week. We all know what the best strategy is. It's a trade down, get as many bites of the pie as you can get. That is categorically the best approach. Now, baseball draft, this is something kind of similar, and it's an even bigger risk with the baseball draft. Let's be honest.
It is, especially this year. Jeff and I went through some home run rates as we end today's show. It was really interesting. We were looking at, because Kurt's missed some time, and we're kind of looking at how many home runs are these guys hitting? How many at bats are they hitting? Did you say that right? How many home runs are they hitting per at bat? So
yeah, how many at bats it takes to get to one home run?
Yeah, so we found that just averaging it out, because obviously Kurt's missed a lot of time. We wanted to see, because everyone was talking about Jack's home run pace and the record. I was like, well, how many home runs are they all hitting? How many at bats to take that home run? And we found that Kurtz is hitting a home run every 6.7 at bats, almost 7. Caglione, the same thing, 6.8. Condon, 5.8. We know that. But Braden Montgomery, 6.7. He is right in there with Kurtz and Jack. And then Travis Bazzana is last at 7.1. But again, if you're taking him, you're not really necessarily taking him for 30 home run power. It's probably more 25 or 20.
I don't know. I think it's in that 25 to 30. I just think those other guys are in more of the 30,
yeah, that's
35
true.
to 40. It's like, I thought it was interesting. He and I have discussed, there's a Twitter profile that's been putting out a lot of great analytical data, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. But like today, he put out some cards, and I retweeted all of those about what the analytics say about hit tool, and they're really interesting. So go look at my @JeffMLB draft profile. I did all of these hitters, and then just other guys that I like as well. But you can see, like Montgomery, there's questions. The only guy who is red in every single category, which is positive, like they have power, they have this, there's one guy who was red in everything, and that was Bazzana.
Right, because he has the better pitch recognition. He's got more likely the hit tool, and he's gonna hit for some power as well. So
I mean, they gave him 70 for his power based on the analytics.
Yeah, so that's
good.
why. That's
why Condon is, of course, an 80. So it's like no, this is not scouting grade. This is just based on analytical scores.
Right. When data goes into that. Also, Carlos Collazo, if you didn't see it on Twitter, released some exit velocities. They're 90% exit velocity, which is very sticky. It's very good. It's something that holds up very well.
Except for the
Condon, of course, number 1 at 112, but Kurtz is there at 110.
This is all first baseman. Is the funny thing.
Yeah.
Like outside of Montgomery.
No, Dakota Jordan's in there.
Yeah, outside of there's 3: Cam Smith, Dakota Jordan, and
Braden Montgomery.
Everyone else at first base. And Jared Jones was a guy I thought could go out the first round out of high school. I'd forgotten about him. He is tooled up for days. He's an interesting guy. August 1st birthday, draft eligible. He could be one of those guys that, like, if Cleveland saves money, you see that if you're looking at a little scroll here, Jared Jones, 3rd best, 90th percentile exit velocity in his class. He's the guy. I know you like Blake Burke, but there's and Jared Jones was a catcher in high school. There's a world where you could draft both and try to reconvert him.
I would not hate that at all.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you can use that money savings and get all those bites of the apple. So that's it's something fun, something to look at. Yeah, I mean, more data is good data. It's fun to look at it. It's a fun class. Yeah.
What did we learn today, Jeff? We learned some data, but we also learned that, please, dear God, nobody in the AL Central trade for Connor Wong unless it's the Guardians, please.
Yeah. And
if the Tigers trade for him, I might cry.
And elbows make me sad.
Elbows make us sad. Yeah.
Elbows make us sad.
That's on a positive note. Come on.
Yeah. Who knows? Tomorrow I'll be watching the game from home, taking the day off, hanging out with my little one. We'll watch. Well, hopefully he'll be napping. He's still awake right now, which is not a good sign at almost 10 o'clock. I can hear him. So he'll be healing up. But I hope you all enjoy a win tomorrow, as they haven't lost a series outside New York yet. So let's keep that stretch going. That's kind of fantastic and amazing. Thank you all for joining us, rating and reviewing, just the swell of numbers and the positive output. We really appreciate all of that. David Lane, I know over in England, is one of our classic everydayers. We see a lot. So and Dave Wendell, just the Hunter Gaddis of it all. So thank you all for joining us, having some fun with us, being part of our squad, team, family, however you want to phrase it. And go Guardians, go.